What's going on, guys? There's a lot of videos out there about cryptocurrency, about mining, about everything to do with Bitcoin, and there's not a lot of them from a host's perspective. And we've put out videos in the past. I've put out videos in the past. Now, I haven't been consistent with those videos, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think to the point of just putting out content and getting the information out there is what I kind of want to start doing. Maybe on a weekly basis, monthly basis, we're going to see how this goes. I just really want to put out content, right? So today, I really want to talk about the ability to understand mining from a host's perspective and then what the advantages are with that, right? So the best thing that I've found over the last 5 years of doing this is, simply put, everything that you mine, you hold it. If you hold it, you have the ability to gain value over time, and that's where things really start to make sense. And if you look at mining from a really basic perspective, you can see all you're doing is gaining a net value every month, right? Best example I can give. We charge $210 for a computer to run it, right? This is an S21 Pro, 270 terahash. And that costs, like I said, $210. You're making around $450 to $500 worth of BTC. And when you consider that, if you hold the entire amount that you mine, the gross amount, you compound that amount very quickly. That's where things really start to make sense. Now, the problem with that is you're paying cash on that $200 every single month. Now, that's a pretty substantial cost for some people and not for a lot of others, but nonetheless, if you're able to do that and you do that for a long period of time, and I'm going to take one out of Michael Saylor's book here, do it for 5 years, hold it for 5 years. And if you can, hold it for 10 years. You will win. Now, you could play devil's advocate and say, yeah, okay, well, I'll just go buy $200 worth of Bitcoin every month because instead of paying cash for the mining costs, I'm just gonna buy that $200 in BTC, and that's fine. That's a flat amount, right? But you're still leaving $250, that remaining net amount between the 200 and the 450, on the table if you would have been mining, right? So the other caveat to this whole perspective is simply the cost of the miner up front. That's the biggest issue. Now, when you consider the cost of the miner, if you're able to endure it, the best thing to do about that whole scenario is look at where we are in the markets and understand your ROI and how quickly that's going to get met. That ROI is going to get met quicker if you are on the way up. There's no question, right? And when I say on the way up, I mean BTC is on the rise. That's where we are today. That's why I'm making this video. We're seeing BTC substantially. And we know BTC is cyclic, right? We know it has these 4-year cycles. They're always very approximate. And it has a lot of organic nature to it as well as synthetic nature. And I can touch on those two things a little bit, but I really want to stay on the point of looking at this and saying, if we meet our ROI quickly, or if we go into this with a conservative ROI approach, maybe we assume that we're gonna ROI in 2.5 years. That's still okay. That's still a pretty good ROI on an investment. You're not gonna get that with real estate. Now, where that gets even better is when the markets go up, right? If your profitability increases and you make more money, all of a sudden your ROI gets better. Only because you entered the market at the right time. You entered when you were low enough to you entered when the markets were increasing. So your profitability increased, which lowered your ROI, you made your money back. And then everything after that you printed was gravy. And that's excellent, right? That's the idea of what we're doing when we mine BTC. Now, I think I can make a lot more videos on different perspectives of where the market's going, all of the things to do with the organics and the synthetics. I mean, organics just being the simple 4-year cycle, the bell curve, the natural economy of an asset. Everything goes up, everything goes down. Agriculture markets, real estate markets, energy markets, everything, right? It goes up, it goes down, it's a bell curve. That's simple economics. That's the organic side of BTC, right? The synthetics are the Fed's interest rates, global war, bombing Iran, Russia, Ukraine. Those synthetics have an impact on BTC, and I think it's an acute impact. I think it's a short-term impact, right? Because the synthetics are what kind of push all the paper hands out, right? Because you see a dramatic drop in the price. But BTC normally recovers with the synthetic impact, right? It just takes maybe a couple weeks or a month or 2 months or whatever it might be, or maybe even a day, right? So the organics are what you should focus on, right? That 4-year cycle, the bear market that's inevitable, the bull market that is inevitable, that's often hard to see. This is the coolest thing that I now own, I think, because one of these last videos that I did, like, look at this, $19,341 is where BTC's at. And I remember the way that felt to make a video when BTC was at 19K, because I saw it go from 68, previous all-time high, down to this 19. And we were still encouraging people to buy it, right? We were still encouraging people to mine it. And those who started mining at that point really did well. The idea here is that we are going to see a really good pump in the next 12 months. I believe we are going to see a good pump in the next 12 months. The idea is you assume a bull run and then you assume a bear run. And we've been in a bear run long enough to see a really good bull run. I think altcoin season is starting, and I think we're going to see a lot of positivity with that too. So what I'm trying to say with this whole thing is this is a really good time to get into mining. This is a really good time to really start stacking sats. And I don't think there's ever a wrong time to start stacking sats, especially if you're going to be looking at it from a 5-year perspective. The idea here is to get knowledge and disseminate the knowledge, right? That's what I'm doing. So I'll keep making these videos. I'll keep pushing out knowledge. I'll keep pushing out content from a host perspective. Reach out with questions, reach out with comments. Store@muskminers.com is a really good email for us, and I'm happy to answer anything you got. Thanks, guys.